Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela and today I'm going to do my first ever knitting podcast. I want to start by talking about the new layout of videos that I'm planning to do. So the first and most important is that I want to make my videos more regular, and I'm thinking about doing video releases on Saturdays. And I'm planning to make the months look kind of like this, with the first week of the month being a knitting podcast where I talk to you guys about my whips, my finished objects, all the things. I'm sure if you've clicked on this video, it's not your first ever knitting podcast video that you've ever watched. And I was really inspired by the knitting podcast videos to kind of do my own. And I just want them to be really slow, not feel like very rushed to make a lot of things. And I kind of want to do mine in a style that works for me. So I don't know how much I'll be doing like acquisitions and things like that, but you'll see as you watch this podcast episode how they're gonna go. The second and third week of the month, I'll just be posting project vlogs, a week of knitting, basically anything that you can think of, or crochet. I don't just knit on this channel, I also crochet. Just any kind of vlogs that you can think of, those are gonna be my weeks 2 and 3. And then my fourth and final week of the month, I'm planning to do a crochet and chat with me as I finish up my temperature blanket. Now that will be at least until the end of 2024, because hopefully by the end of December, I will be done with my temperature blanket. We are pretty much on track. I have a lot of September to catch up on, but we are pretty much on track to be finished with the temperature blanket by the end of the year. And then that means my fourth week will have to be something different. But that's a problem for future Michaela. So with all that being said, let's get into the knitting podcast. Let's start with my finished objects. And the first finished objects are a pair of socks. So I knit these socks, and the story behind these socks are, this is my first pair of knitted socks, and I knit the first sock earlier this year. And by earlier this year, I want to say like January or February. And I couldn't remember which needles I knit it with, so I'm pretty sure I used 2 different size needles for these. This one is a little bit looser than this one, and you can even tell by the gauge there, but that's okay. We finished them nonetheless. The second sock only took me 2 days to do, which was absolutely insane to me. I'm like, how did I start a sock at the beginning of the year and then the second sock only took me 2 days? Why didn't I just finish it sooner? But now I have a nice cozy pair of socks for the fall that I'm super excited about. The pattern is actually Beautous boot sock by Alice Neal, but I followed a tutorial on YouTube that's absolutely free. It's on the Love Crafts YouTube page, so I will leave the link to both the pattern and the video below. Unfortunately, the pattern is £3, so it's kind of interesting to me that it's a paid pattern, but they have a free tutorial. I just followed the tutorial, and it's worked top down. It shows you how to use magic loop, which I ended up being kind of like a pro at by the end of the second sock. And I knitted it in Heartland's Tweed. It is a worsted acrylic, and this is the color Mount Rainier. So I just love the little like speckled kind of rainbow flecks on it. Sorry, I just needed to adjust because the lighting is so bad in my apartment because I have so many windows. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but when the sun is shining from all the different angles, it just causes problems. But this yarn I actually worked up in a crochet as well. This is a balaclava I made for my boyfriend last year, all crocheted. I followed a random TikTok video to make this. If I can remember the user, I will link that below. But that's my first finished objects. My second finished object is actually a dog sweater. I knitted up for my mama's pup. Her name is Bella. So the pattern is the Edinburgh Seamless Dog Sweater, and it is knit top down and a little raglan with some knit front and back increases here. And I honestly really enjoyed doing this pattern. It was just really relaxing to work in the round for a lot of the sweater, and it went by really fast. I started making it probably somewhere before her birthday party. My mom throws a birthday party for her dog every year, and that was in July. And then I kind of like let it go for a while, and then I just picked it up and finished it in like 2 days. Again, same idea with the sock story, but I was actually able to finish it, and it's kind of like my first time picking up stitches for sleeves. So there's kind of like some errors in it, but I think maybe every year I'll just knit her one and see how much better my knitting gets. So for the sizing, they did have extra small dog up to extra large dog, but I didn't feel like the extra large dog actually fit Bella's measurements. So I ended up just sizing up completely. I can't exactly remember what size needles I used. I just kind of like went with what I thought would fit her. And I don't have a picture of her in it. Like I haven't put it on her yet, but hopefully by the time I'm editing, I will give this to my mom and then she can put it on Miss Bella and I'll insert a picture. I did use a cotton yarn for this, and I was just trying to use up some scraps that I had, and this was the KC cotton yarn. I had it from Joann, and the purple color is called Lavender Field, and this color is called Rainforest. Yes, Rainforest. So yeah, that's my second finished object and my last finished object. If you guys know, a lot of the reason I started this YouTube channel was so that I would finish some objects. And that reminded me, I didn't even put it in my notes, but I do want to quickly talk about this thing that my local yarn shop is doing, which is that you bring 4 unfinished objects or whips, and you put $1 in kind of like a pot for each whip. So that's $4. And if you finish your whip by the end of the month, one of your 4 whips, then they will do a drawing, like your name goes in the drawing, and then you can win the money. And I'm so excited. I don't even know which whips I'm going to use yet. I might even have to start a couple whips because I don't want to take like a colorwork sweater that I know I'm not going to be able to finish, or a blanket. So I might have to start a couple things and see where it goes, but just stay tuned for that because I think I'm going to be doing that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about are 2 of my whips, and the first one is near and dear to me. If you guys know from my other videos, I love to make things for my grandma, and so I am knitting her a shawl. And this is actually 2 days worth of work. I really went to town on this because I really just wanted to get it done. I'm actually going to see my grandma on Sunday, so if I could finish this by Sunday, that would be an absolute dream. I actually went to go visit my grandma last week, and she went with me to a yarn store. I was looking for yarn for a project, and I told her she could pick out a yarn, and I would knit her something in it. So she picked out this yarn. It is Arasania Confetti. It is a hand-dyed fingering weight cotton yarn. So I kind of balled it all up. And I'm actually knitting the Yamarino Shawlette by Shannon Dunbabin. Yes, I have my laptop here, just reading my notes. But yeah, so I have never knit up a shawl before, and once I got the hang of the pattern, it's actually super, super easy. I would say the most annoying part of this is actually the purl rows, because I hate purling, as most people do, and why wouldn't you hate purling? It's actually awful. But for the most part, it's a lot of like yarn overs, and then just like increases, decreases, and it's actually a really fun pattern because you just like keep your mind focused the whole time. So yeah, that's one of my works in progress. I'm really gonna have to get used to that. And the second work in progress, so my second work in progress is something that is so exciting to me. I saw this on Pinterest. I'll post a picture here of the first post on Pinterest that I saw that made me say, I need this sweater. And the little backstory behind it is I started looking for yarn for it, and I couldn't quite find the color that I wanted for it, but I did find another yarn that would work. And here's another picture of what the color looks like in the original. So the first picture was clearly edited, and that's okay. I just really still wanted to recreate the essence of that, which was like a brighter blue, brighter colors. Just that was what I wanted, but I couldn't really make that work with the yarn that I had. I was being super impatient, so I just kind of went with the original look of the pattern. So I started knitting up. You can see right here, this is my first colorwork sweater, and I can see where it started because I'm not really good at adding color. But this is my first colorwork sweater, and I'm so proud to be knitting it up, and I'm so in love with it. And I feel like my tension's actually not bad. And yeah, so this is the Dale of Norway Lillehammer 1994 sweater. And when I was searching for this sweater. Like, I did a whole deep dive. I was like, I have to have this sweater. I looked everywhere for the pattern. I could only find it in Norwegian. And then I stumbled upon a PDF of the English pattern. So I'm gonna link it below because it's just out there on the internet for anybody to see. And that's what I have been working on. This has taken me a few weeks, and right now I'm just working in a 6-row pattern repeat for it to get to the length that you need to, and then you can do the intricate like design with like the horse and the rest of the pattern on the front. And I am using a Barocco yarn, 100% wool. It's the lawn is light, so I have both of them here. So for the white yarn, I'm using the color Snow Day. For the blue yarn, I'm using the color Dark Denim, and then the colors inside of the sweater, the yellow, the teal, and the red, are the colors Golden, Lagoon, and Raspberries. So I absolutely love, like you can see the color work here. I'm absolutely in love with how this is turning out, and I can't wait to be finished with it. Now, the reason this is not gonna be on my hope to finish by the end of this month is because that's a lot of color work. It's a lot of color work, and I just have realistic expectations of myself. Sometimes I don't, but with this sweater, I absolutely do. It's been really humbling to spend weeks and weeks and weeks on a colorwork sweater. So that's it for the whips that I wanted to show you guys. And now I'm just gonna tell you the things that I actually hope to finish by the end of September. The first one is my grandma's shawl. I did show you guys in my whips, but I really wanna get this done. And as soon as I do, I will keep you guys posted. And actually my grandma's shawl is the first thing that I created a project page for on Ravelry, which I absolutely love. I have seen other people's and I like browse through Ravelry all the time, but I finally made my own project page for this project and I love it. The second thing is my Granny Square blanket. This is a remake of my Granny's Granny Square blanket that I made for my granny because a lot of people Sorry, I'm trying to keep myself out of this light, but I'm not sure if it's happening, but just bear with me. So this is the Granny Square blanket that I made for my grandma, and a lot of people really wanted a tutorial, so I started making another one, and I forgot how long this project takes, but I would love to have this finished and recorded and out for you guys by October. Start of October, I would love to have that out. So that's number 1 plan. Or number 2 plan, really. And then my third plan is actually to knit up some socks for my boyfriend. The yarn store that I went to with my grandma last weekend had Noro yarn, which was what I was specifically looking for. I just wanted to see it for myself in the flesh because I've heard so many people talk about it. And this is actually cotton, which it feels really a little rough to be cotton. And this is the Mireille in the color 10. So it's cotton, silk, viscose, and polyamide, but mostly cotton yarn. And it looks kind of jank here because I did start knitting my boyfriend some socks. I was just gonna knit him the same sock as this, but I started knitting it and then it was too small. I should have known with his big ass foot. He tried to put it on and I was like, okay, we're gonna unravel that and start again. So I'm probably gonna use just some bigger needles or just find a different sock pattern altogether. And this isn't something that I hope to finish, but I did want to show you guys something that I'm kind of working on behind the scenes, which is whenever I'm trying to get rid of scrap yarn. So whenever I finish a project, I really want to just like use what's left of the ball and make them into granny squares. It doesn't really matter the size. I'm just thinking to connect them all together in kind of like a mosaic granny squares, scrap yarn kind of thing. So it's just something I'm just keeping in the background and we'll see how it turns out. And now we're going to talk about my ideas for fall cast on. So as I mentioned, I am being really mindful of how many things I am planning to make for fall because I know I want to hand make all of my Christmas gifts this year and it's already September, so it's time to get started. I do have like on my Ravelry a bunch of things that I really want to make, and I thought about all of these things for fall, but I just wanted to be extremely realistic about that. At the same time, I really wanted to wait until it was at least September before I released a fall, autumn knitting ideas video, because I'm trying to be very mindful of my time and your time. And I think that in our society, marketing really forces us to go through the seasons really quickly. Things will be in the stores for Halloween, for fall, like in July. And I really want to live a very slow life. I think everyone should live a slow life, especially in the knitting world. We all are just really taking it slow, taking it nice and easy with our crafts. And I really think that our seasons, we should really appreciate each one while we have it. So I wanted to wait until it was proper fall. And I know technically it's September 15th for us to be fall, but for my boyfriend, who is from another country, he says fall starts September 1st. So I just decided it's September, we can talk about fall. I do want to make a video about all of the things I would cast on if I could. So if you want to see that video, then go ahead and leave a comment below. And if you're interested in like a free fall patterns video, crochet, knitting, just leave a comment with a money sign as well to signify that you want to see something that's all about free patterns. So this fall, I've been super inspired by the colors navy blue and gray. So most of the time it's like browns, warm colors, colors of the leaves. That's kind of what inspires fall. But for me, I don't know why, I'm just feeling a navy blue and gray color pattern thing. That's all I can think about making is something navy blue. And so I'm going to tell you the 3 things that I'm going to make. But first I'm going to show you, I'm probably just going to throw some pictures up here of all the things I've been seeing on Pinterest and kind of how they've been inspiring my browsing for fall and my taste for creating a fall wardrobe. So the first thing that I really want to knit is either a blue or gray cardigan. And it was really inspired by this picture, and it's a little bit of an oversized cardigan over a nice blouse, kind of even one like this, just a button down with some nice pants, like wide leg pants. I am an oversized fit girly. Like, I love for my clothes to be nice and loose, give me some room to breathe, and I don't like things being super tight to my skin. This is rather recent that I started to feel this way, but I feel like I hate all of my clothes in my closet right now, so I really need to do a wardrobe reset anyway. So there are 3 cardigan patterns that I kind of were browsing, and the first one is the Paul cardigan by Marika Knit. All of the patterns will be linked below, of course, but I forgot that I bought this pattern because I knew that this was the pattern I wanted to make for this. So it's probably the one I'll end up using, but I did want to still share my other contenders, being the Montrose cardigan by Cheryl Mokhtari and the Agnet cardigan by Petite Knit. I'm not going to go into all of the details about how each of these patterns are knit up or the gauge or anything like that, because I'm a beginner knitter, and I think for other beginner knitters it can be really overwhelming when people are talking about all these things and you might not know what they mean, and it seems like it means so much to other people. Like, to me as a beginner, I'm just like, I just need to hit gauge, I just need to have the right yarn and I just need it to fit whenever I'm finished. But those are my 3 contenders. Probably gonna end up knitting the Paul cardigan because I already bought it, and a new technique with cardigans, and mind you, I've never knit up a cardigan ever, is German short rows. At least in the Paul cardigan, I noticed it is knit up with German short rows, so it would be a new technique for me to try, and I'm really excited about that. So the second thing is I'd like to knit up a blue or a gray sweater. So whatever color I knit up my cardigan in, I'll do the opposite for the sweater, vice versa. I just know I need a gray staple and a blue staple in my wardrobe. I have yet to buy a sweater pattern yet for this sweater. I just know I want it to be a nice, flowy, oversized kind of fit, feel, and look. So the first sweater that I have on the list is the Cloud Sweater by Petite Knit. I also have not knit up anything by Petite Knit yet. I hear really mixed reviews about knitting their patterns, but they do have some really nice looking finished objects that I think, I can understand why a lot of people want to knit their patterns. The second one is the Joan sweater by Rosa Pomar. I absolutely love the look of the sweater. I think I would knit it just a little bit longer. I am also interested in knitting a V-neck. There were a couple of my Pinterest inspirations that had V-neck sweaters, and I absolutely think it would be a cute idea to do a V-neck sweater. I'm not really sold yet if I want to do V-neck or just a regular crew neck sweater or even like a turtleneck or anything like that. I just really love the look of the sweater. It also looks very oversized. I love the color that it's knit up in already. You guys already know I'm here for the blue. So that's the other sweater that's kind of on my mind. In addition to V-neck sweaters, the Harlow sweater V-neck by Kadri. This one is also looking like a loose fit V-neck. I love the ribbing detail of the V-neck, and I think it just shows even nicer with the cream color that it's knit in, but I think this one would look absolutely gorgeous in a gray. And the other V-neck sweater that I'm kind of got my eye on is the sweater number 14 V-neck by My Favorite Things Knitwear. I've heard a lot of things about My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I've never knit any one of their patterns. So those are just the ones that are on my mind. Oh, and lastly, another sweater pattern that's been on my mind a lot lately is the Norma sweater. And I've been thinking like how I can knit it up in like gray or navy and then do like the detailing in gray or navy, maybe with like a white or a cream or something. I'm not sure in my head. I think it could work, but I feel like I need to jot it down. But I really, really, really want to knit the Norma. I think it's so beautiful, and every color that people have knitted in, I love it. So the first one was the cardigan, the second one was the sweater, and the third one is probably something I'm going to cast on because I did just buy the pattern for it, and it is the Atlantis set by Ullen Knitwear. It's kind of like a 2-in-1 project because it's a set, so it's a sweater and pants, and I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I have been since I saw it. I just like think having a knit set would be so cute. I'm really in my set era, like especially with being cozy. Like I have bought a couple different PJ sets and I live in them. So I just thought having one more cozy little set that I made myself would be so special. And I love the color that it's knit in originally, kind of like a grayish and a sky blue trim or rib, not rib, trim. Yeah, it's like a trim. But I have also been thinking about knitting up in dark brown. I saw one of the projects on Ravelry, someone knitted up in dark brown. I'm just gonna place a picture, and it turned out so cute. And I was thinking like a dark brown with maybe like a red orange trim. I don't know. I have like a couple ideas. It kind of just seems like if the right yarn just like falls into my hands, then that's what I'll choose. But those are my 3 things I'm planning on casting on this fall. And I think that will be something that is attainable. So, and I would ideally cast one on before I do this knitting or crochet like whips project at my local yarn shop. That way I would be motivated to get them done. Anyway, so sorry that this lighting has been absolutely unpredictable and absolutely a nightmare, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video anyway. And I would love it if you guys left me a comment about something that you are excited for fall and what you're planning to cast on. And don't forget to let me know if you want to see some other fall patterns and ideas. So I'll see you guys in the next video.